Christopher Cantwell and Cafu catapult our heroes into interesting new territories as Iron Man and Hellcat confront Korvac and learn the specifics of his new utopia, confirming their worst fears about the android. Christopher Cantwell continues his utterly fantastic and totally new and different take on Iron Man, this time bringing God into the mixture as we get some really rather serious theological talk between our heroes on what God is and who they are. I loved how different the talk was compared to other comics or TV or movies that have done this type of stuff before, and Gargoyle's theory of there being a balance and the heroes rebalancing it all in times of need as a form of worship was quite cool and an interesting take. Korvac's plan as well gets some really much needed fleshing out, as it's made very obvious that, as Tony puts it, it's just a vanity project for the villain. I did like that Tony confronted him not to fight but to hear him out, and even that caught Korvac off guard, which was something I don't think happens a lot in comics, but wish it did, since there's a very organic way for the writer to explain the villain's or hero's plan without it seeming out of place or just tagged on so there can be some exposition dumps. Cafu again gives us some really pretty artwork, especially in the Mindscape pages with Tony and Patty traveling the universe in Korvac's mind, which led to a really great full page piece that looks like a poster for something like Star Trek or some sci-fi action film. It looked very cool. Iron Man issue 7 was another really awesome issue from Christopher Cantwell and his team, exploring some pretty weighty topics like God in some fun and unique ways, while also giving us some new information regarding Korvac's plan, thus forwarding the plot along very nicely. I'm going to give this issue a 9.5 out of 10. Iron Man issue 7 finds Tony's team blasting off into space with Halcyon behind the controls of the ship as Rhodey helps upgrade Tony's armor to levels not even tested yet. Tony says that they are just doubling the force of his punch, and he wants to cap his striking power at 500 miles per hour, as James warns him that if he hits a surface that doesn't give under that pressure, Tony's heart will explode. Tony reassures him that Korvac will crack since he knows what Enclave made him out of, and while the bilayer is strong, it's imperfect. Tony tells his friend that Korvac is not like them, and they are covered in steel, since if they dent or crack, odds are they are still good to go, whereas cracking him a tiny bit should let him rip apart the man like cardboard. James knows that Tony is going to get himself killed punching the man made of pure energy, but Tony tells him that hitting the villain is the point, since energy weapons won't work, plus he's got backup. Rhodey knows he means the D-listers in the hold, but Tony was actually referring to him, wanting to give War Machine his tune-up. Tony works on the War Machine armor as Rhodey tells him that he trusts him like a brother, and that's all he's got for him right now, and Tony knows he'll take it as he continues to improve Rhodey's armor. The others meanwhile try and sort out what their team name will be, thinking the Star Warriors is a good one, but Scarlet Spider knows that that's too similar to Star Wars, and besides, they aren't really a team, they are more employees of Stark. Frogman says the name God Fighters is a good one, making Misty wonder what God means in their universe, and are they talking about Buddha or Thanos or Allah? Gargoyle says that Buddha was a man, and Frogman says that Thanos was a titan, but Misty still asks, is a god an android, a celestial, or a glove with gems in it? Talk turns to if they are discussing the god or a god, and Misty doesn't think there is a difference, with Ben saying that it's all just cells and atoms, and that she is the sum total of a muscular reflexes that hold her body together, which ends up thinking it's someone or something. Misty gets the idea that her being is a side effect of being alive, something Ben knows is all just hard science. Frogman knows that's easy for the test tube clone to say, upsetting Ben as Gargoyle says that God is balance and it's delicate and powerful, and the scales are always tipping one way or another, and what they do and what they fight for is to rebalance it, and that's how they worship the universe and treat it with reverence. Thanks to the hero's very deep talk, it silenced the room as Tony meanwhile talks with Patsy, learning of what Korvac showed her in his perfect universe within her head. Patsy says that because of this, Korvac knows that they are there and they will be trying to ambush him. Tony knows that he'll be ready for that, getting Patsy to tell him that she really wishes she could kiss him right now. Tony says that would be nice, but he can't take his helmet off thanks to it keeping his head and neck attached to his body. Patsy kisses the helmet, saying that it was like making out with a safety deposit box, something Tony wonders if she does that often. Patsy gets serious for a moment, telling Tony that she is a liability to the team since Korvac has an advantage through her, but Tony wonders if she's tried to reverse the viewing and see Korvac. Korvac, knowing he doesn't expect to reason with the villain, but Patsy used to be a mind warrior before and it could probably help them. Patsy says that it was a while ago she'd done that and she got her license taken off her, but Tony knows that she can handle it. Korvac meanwhile reaches the Goss space sector border where he is told that Tony's team is gaining on them. Blizzard knows that Tony's FTL drive is rather faster than theirs, apologizing for criticizing his master's handiwork, but Korvac puts his fingers into the villain's eyes, saying that he cannot afford to wane in their faith or they will lose sight of the truth. He tells Unicorn to let them catch up to them and draw them in close so they can destroy them once and for all, since he cannot be affording to think about them once aboard Tar 2. Suddenly, Korvac finds Patsy in his mindscape, learning that she was able to reverse the connection thanks to her experience with her psionic abilities in the past, and thanks to Korvac poking around, it seemed to stir up those powers again. Korvac knows that it doesn't matter since she couldn't even comprehend his thoughts as Tony arrives, reassuring the villain his neck is very fine and complimenting his FTL drive, although he knows his is faster. Korvac knows that both heroes can't hurt him in his mindscape since both their minds are too scattered and exhausted and angry, and their ship will soon be blown apart in a few minutes. Tony says they still have time to see this utopia Korvac plans on making, and he wants to know how it works. Korvac is taken aback by Tony's willingness to hear him out, something he never expected, finding Tony's sincerity on the subject quite beautiful. He says the universe will be perfect since all things will become one single entity, an aggregate. Tony asks if that means himself, but Korvac says that there would be no him or them, and it all becomes part of a seamless aggregate, as will everything else. He shows them a new world as he tells the heroes that the aggregate knows only peace and calm and softness and grace, and won't be owned by any one individual, even him, since everything will serve the aggregate. Tony wants to be shown this, so Korvac shows him the universe, saying that entropy will be reversed as everything will be unified and no hate or fear will be present. The heroes are shown strange crystalline creatures, which Korvac says are living extensions of the aggregate. Tony wonders if this is just one of many new life forms, but the villain says that this is the new conception of life in the universe. Tony knows that because of that, it's all entirely homogeneous, limited to only one single type of existence, no freedom or flair or deviation or even color. Patsy says the utopia sucks, and Tony thinks that all the death and murder Korvac will do, all they get to be is crystals eating other crystals. Korvac becomes angered at the critique, calling Tony a bacterium who suffers because he cannot see beyond his own survival, and it's why he must do this for them, saying the universe is lucky to have Korvac with them. Tony tells the villain that the crystal creatures and the aggregate is very clearly and cringily about him, and it's a vanity project, and if the android had worked for him, he would fire him over it. Tony is suddenly teleported out of the mindscape as Korvac calls him a coward. Patsy demands to know what the villain did to him, but the villain says he did nothing to the hero, saying she doubts he can ever be their savior, so she gets to experience it all for herself firsthand. Korvac turns Patsy's mind into one of the crystal creatures, as in the real world, her body falls unconscious in the ship, soon found by Misty. Korvac tells the team to get the cannons and missiles on his ship ready to destroy Iron Man's shuttle, as War Machine gets a visual on Korvac's ship as it comes around for an attack run. Misty races to the cockpit, telling James that Tony is gone. James asks how that is possible, and Misty says that he just blinked out of existence and Hellcat is all messed up. War Machine tells them to go strap in and hang on as he engages Korvac's ship, telling Halcyon to get into invasive maneuvers. The mutant easily takes the ship into evasive maneuvers as on a distant world, Tony reappears, finding his jet boots don't even work. Tony walks around as he tries to determine where he is, coming to a canyon on the alien world. He thinks that maybe he's dead again as a voice tells him not to move. The voice belongs to a member of a colony patrol who call Tony a trespasser in a non-authorized zone, saying that they will kill him unless he comes with them willingly.